Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this new course on turning technology. In today's lesson, we are going to lay out the content of this course, and then define the skills you are going to acquire during this course. But before we start, let's introduce ourselves properly. I am Fabrizio, and with me will be Paolo, my assistant. Paolo. Sorry, he always feels entitled, so I'll introduce him properly. It is with great pride that I present my super professional, super helpful, and super efficient Paolo. Well, now that you have met Paolo, we can start this introductory lesson here on CNC, of course. Being a lathe operator on modern machine tools requires three fundamental aspects: knowing how to read the drawing, knowing how to choose the tools and their technological parameters, and finally, learning how to operate and program the machine tool. Each of these three skills makes for a more robust operator, and the more thorough the skills are, the higher his level of professionalism. In this course, we are going to focus on technology. In other words, we are going to learn and explore all the practical and applicable aspects related to turning operations. In the first lessons, we are going to learn about the tool and how to choose it, both from the point of view of the tool holder and of the insert. Then we are going to move on from the ISO nomenclature to the choice of the main tool angles and understand their influence on the machining operations. After that, we are going to analyze the material of the tools in order to know how to choose the right insert depending on the operation to carry out. As soon as the tool is defined, we are going to deal with the choice of cutting parameters, which are at the heart of our machining process. These are cutting speed, feed rate, and depth of cut. The correct choice of these three parameters influences the final result, which is not just to make the workpiece and do it well, but also to do it with the maximum economical performance of the machine and the tool. In fact, here, we are going to look into the chip volume and economic tool life, without forgetting Taylor's valuable teachings described in a separate lesson. We said economic tool life. Yes, the equation weighing the balance between the tooling costs and the production costs. Because, at the end of the day, if we are turners, sooner or later, we will have to do the accounts. Good operators have to know how to manage them. But to manage them, it is fundamental to know how to control them. For example, the insert's wear and to fully understand its process. If everything is in the right place, tool, insert, cutting parameters, and economic tool life. During the roughing operations, we may also have to deal with cutting power, to which we will dedicate 2 lessons. If, on the other hand, we have to carry out a finishing operation, we may find ourselves having to deal with the roughness, so there will be a specific lesson for that delicate operation. The course we are going to follow is not for everyone. It doesn't matter whether you are new to turning or are already an experienced turner. The main thing is that you are open to change, willing to study, and ready to learn. Some topics will be very in-depth. There will be formulas and exercises to do, but if you approach the course with a strong will, everything will be easier. Paolo, you scared me. Good question, which gives me a reason to talk about it. It is difficult to label this course. Obviously, we could say basic for the first few lessons, but towards the end, there will be some rather advanced topics. It is true that we will cover certain formulas in a simplified format specifically for use in the workshop, but they are certainly topics that make the operator very specialized. And it is precisely through commitment and completing the test correctly that you will receive your certificate. But, above all, you will acknowledge that you have made a step forward in your professional growth. Just like our Paolo, always focused, always ready, always precise. Come on now, Paolo, don't exaggerate, it's not a degree. And don't start embarrassing me from the very first lesson. Well, don't pay attention to him. Let's start our new course. Paolo and I will see you at the first lesson of the Turning Technology course. Obviously, here on CNC, of course.